Hello everyone, welcome back. In the last videos we had done solved the other questions. In this video we'll start with the next question, that is 2C. See what the question is. Air pollution and water shortages are among the problems faced by urban centers across the globe. Examine this statement. Now, we know very well that air pollution and water shortage is very much acute in the urban centers or in the urban cities. But how do we write this answer? This answer has to be justified with various points. So let's go to the answer section. Firstly, see, since in the question there are two parts. That is, firstly, we'll talk about the air pollution. Second, we'll talk about the water shortage. Now, air pollution, firstly, we'll talk about the effects of humans. Then we'll talk of the effects on other creatures and other wildlife. So first, see air pollution, the effect on human is, firstly, there are some short-term effects and some long-term effects. If we describe the short-term effects, see, the short-term effects are temporary and range from simple discomfort, irritation of eyes, nose, skin, throat, wheezing, coughing, and chest tightness, and breathing difficulties, to such more serious states like asthma, pneumonia, bronchitis, and lung and heart problems. Short-term exposure to air pollution can also cause headaches, nausea, and dizziness. Now, these are the very short-term effects. Most of us we have seen when we are out or when we are exposed to pollution for quite a long time, we find feeling ourselves very dizzy, or we feel coughing kind of sensation, or we feel we are having some breathing problems. So these are the short-term problems that we have. But if this persists for quite a long time, or with the people who are very much exposed to air pollution or working in industries or factories or construction sites, then they are very much exposed to either asthma, pneumonia, bronchitis, lung, and heart problems. These are the short-term effects that they usually face. Not that very serious, but yes, it can definitely cause some harm. Next, coming to the long-term effects. The long-term effects are chronic, lasting for years, or the whole life, can even lead to death. Furthermore, the toxicity of several pollutants may also induce a variety of cancers in the long term. So if this persists for quite a long time, so then you can understand what will be the result. Definitely, a part of your body will be harmed for a permanent nature, or the person can suffer from cancer, or it can even lead to death. These are the effects of air pollution on humans. So we can classify into two, that is short term and long term. Next, we come to the environmental impact. The first we had effects on human, next we'll come to the environmental impact. Now here you see wildlife is burdened by toxic pollutants that are coming from soil, air, water, ecosystem, and in this way, animals can develop health problems when they are exposed to the high level of pollutants. Reproductive failure and birth effects have also been reported. So you can understand that this effect of air pollution is going into their genes. So if it is getting introduced in their genes, so their reproductive system will change. They will not be able to give reproduction to a good variety of their own species. So what happens is the entire genes, or if the composition of such changes, then it is very dangerous. It actually damages the entire ecosystem. Next, coming to environmental impact of eutrophication. Now, what is eutrophication? It is occurring when elevated concentrations of nutrients, especially nitrogen, stimulate the blooming of aquatic algae, which can cause a disequilibrium in the diversity of fish and their deaths. Now, in a very simple language, let me explain. Eutrophication is building up of algae in the upper or the surface area of the water. It might be a pond or freshwater lake or any other water bodies, but imagine if the algae is covering the entire surface of this water body, then the fish that are underneath, they are not able to get the oxygen, or they are not able to absorb the oxygen that is required. So as a result, what happens, not only aquatic life, but also aquatic marine creature or other creatures present in the water, they are also dying because of this eutrophication. And if eutrophication is not controlled after a certain level, then definitely all the aquatic life, including the fish, including all the marine creatures, marine plants, and everything, will be dead. So this has to be controlled. Next, acid rain. One of the very important environmental effect of air pollution is acid rain. Rather, we can say one of the direct environmental impact of air pollution is acid rain. Now, acid rain in wet form, rain, snow, fog, or in dry form, particulates and gas. Precipitation occurs through toxic amounts of nitric and sulfuric acids. They are able to acidify the water and soil environments, damage trees and plantations, and even damage building and outdoor sculptures, constructions, and statues. Now, here I will say there was once an example in Britain, that one statue which was exposed for quite a long number of years. When it was exposed in the open area, and usually they have acid rain. So when this acid rain happened, there were holes found in the statue. Okay, holes. First, it was assumed that someone had dug the holes, but later on, after testing and experimentation, it was found out that it was not actually done by some human creature, but it was the effect of acid rain. So can you imagine if the acid rain falling on this statue, making holes in the plaster of Paris statue that had been built? So what it will be causing the effect on plants or aquatic life or human or any other wildlife creature that happens. Now another example I say you, in a certain country, a plant was half into a shade and half was exposed, that was, it was slanting towards the unshaded area. So what happened when there was acid rain, it was found out after a few number of months that the half of the tree had turned a dark green, or had started becoming brownish and burnished type of color, and the other half that was not exposed to open area was completely green. So this absurdity was also found. So yes, it might sound very absurd how this half plant was green and half plant was dying, but the production or the system had become in such a way that the other parts were starting to rot. So these were few examples of acid rain that I have given you. So the environmental impacts and the impacts of air pollution on human and environment have been discussed. Now we will come to the water crisis. Now water shortage causes, what are the causes? Because of agriculture, because of population growth, and because of pollution. So what is happening because of all such things? Water shortage is increasing. Now imagine if you are going on giving irrigation to agriculture and it is going into drainage, that is leaching is taking place. So definitely there will be water shortage. Population growth. As more and more population is increasing, water demand is increasing. So as water demand increases and because of population growth, water crisis is being shown in the graphs. So what happens is there is actually fixed amount or limited amount of fresh water that is available. And if this fixed amount is replenished, it cannot be replenished definitely. If this amount is depleted, then definitely water crisis or water shortages will be shown. And with this increasing amount of growth in population, it is very difficult to meet up the water shortages. Next, pollution. Actually, what happens in this pollution, there are several factors which are there. You can also explain this in your answer. So pollution is causing, it's not only air pollution or water pollution that is harming. There are various types of pollution that is creating water shortage. For example, spill of oils in the oceans during ship accidents or something like that. What happens is, if you find in your daily life also, if you just put one single drop of oil in one bucket of water, the entire water gets polluted. So you imagine if one accident with a ship, or if it gets overturned, the entire diesel and the oil tank that they are carrying gets overturned and the entire water surface is polluted. The entire water gets disturbed. So this entire water line getting disturbed, it was also shown in Mumbai. That is, after this overturning of a particular ship, within a month, it was found out that crores and crores of fish were found dead on the seashore of Mumbai. That is the Marine Drive. So you can imagine this condition leading to such water shortages or such causes of harmful effect in nature. Next, coming to the impacts, disappearing wetlands. If water shortages actually start taking place, then what are the impacts that we are going to face? Is there will be no wetlands after a certain point of time, and the entire ecosystem will be damaged. It will be rough, dry, and without any wetland area, the entire ecosystem, the entire balance will be lost. So there are two impacts that I have discussed here: disappearing wetlands and damaged ecosystem. So I'll give you a summary of this. Firstly, we'll divide the question into two parts: air pollution and water shortage. Air pollution, first we have discussed effect of human, that is short-term effects leading to skin, throat, wheezing, coughing or breathing problems, which can also lead to headache, asthma, pneumonia, bronchitis, etc. And long-term effects that can even cause a certain part of our body to be damaged or even cause death. Next, environmental impact of air pollution. Water or wildlife is getting very much damaged, and reproductive disorders are taking place. Eutrophication is happening, as a result of which marine life or marine creature is getting damaged or dead. And acid rain, which is full of nitric and sulfuric acids, which is damaging trees, plantations, humans, soil, environment, everything. Next, we come to water shortages. What are the causes of water shortage? Agriculture, population growth, and pollution. Next, we come to the impact of water shortage. What we have in the impact: disappearing wetlands, damaged ecosystems. So this is all about this question. Next, we come to the next question, that is, what factors influence the location of industries in India today? Yes. What are the factors that affect industries' location in India? First, it's energy. Okay. The energy that we get, if energy is available at a far off site, so there is no point of building the industry in that site. We have to build it in such a place or in such an area or location where energy is easily available. Next, we come to transport. Now, transport, if you are manufacturing something from your industry and you don't have proper transport or communication level, it might be through roadways, railways, airways, waterways, anyways. But if there is no proper transport, or it is in the interior of an area where there is no communication possible, then definitely your products will not be transferred very easily, or it will be quite very difficult in transporting the materials or the products from the place of production to the market area. So then all the costs will go into transportation, which the company definitely does not again want to spend. Next, we come to labor. Now, labor, wherever cheap labor is available, the company or the industry will be set up in such an area, because there are a lot of laborers that are required in setting up a factory, in continuing the production. So if labor is becoming quite expensive, or it is not available in that particular area, then there is no point of building industry in that very particular place. So we have to find an area where labor is cheaply available. Next, water. Now, as you know, for industries, water is very much required. So if water is not available for machines or for whatever productions they require, and there is no source of river or some other freshwater lake, something is not available, then there is no point of building the industry in that area. Next, we come to market. The market where all these products can be sold. If the market is not easily available, or if the market is very small, where the product is not valued properly, then we cannot start making plans to build a factory or an industry in that way area. Market has to be very available where transport or communication is quite smooth. Next, coming to raw materials. Raw materials like coal or whatever, steel, aluminum, whatever raw materials are required. If it is not available there, or if the reserves are not present there, then what will happen? We have to pay a lot of cost while transporting or while bringing the raw materials from the place to the industry's location. So that will be very difficult, because mostly we use these raw materials in the raw form itself, and then we transfer it or mold it, whatever the scenario is. So if raw material is not available in that very area, we find it will be very difficult for a factory to be established there. So one correct example here I can give you is Jamshedpur. Since a lot of raw material was available there, so Jamshedpur had Jamshedji Tata had built this factory at that very place, which later on, it came to be Jamshedpur. But since the material, the raw material was available there, the factory was set up in that very location. The next factor is new factors in a changed situation. Now, if we go on changing this industry's location from time onwards, from time to time, then definitely what will happen, the company or the industry will not be stable, because the entire structure, the entire setup is required to start an industry. So with all these new factors keeping in mind, we have to keep our industry established in one particular location with keeping in mind these 7 factors. So what are they? Firstly, energy, transport, labor, water, market, raw material, and new factors in the change situation. Or you can even write it new factors. So these are the 7 factors that we require, or these are the direct answers to your question, all the factors that influence the location of industry in India in the current time. Next, we move on to the last question of this section, that is question 2E. Degradation of forest resource and wildlife is a fallout of agriculture and urbanization. Assess this statement giving examples from India. Coming to this, first we'll talk about the forest resource. See, we can divide our question into 2 parts here again, forest resource and wildlife. So first we are talking about forest resource. Forests around the world are under great threat, jeopardizing these benefits. The threats are manifested themselves in the form of deforestation and forest degradation. We know this very well. Due to our own, greed purposes, we are deforesting the entire forest area, and as a result of which our ecosystem is getting disbalanced. The main cause of this deforestation is firstly agriculture, where poor plant infrastructure is emerging as a big threat, and the main cause of forest degradation is illegal logging. Yes, illegal logging is taking place in today's world very frequently, because wood is in high demand, as it is, coming to a deplenished position. So wood is getting demanded, and because of this, the entire forest is getting cleared out, as a result of which we are finding forest degradation and land degradation with an adequate amount of deforestation. And forest fires are definitely there to help these forest resources get damaged. Next, coming to wildlife. As I told you, this question has 2 parts. Firstly, we'll talk about the forest life. Next, we'll coming to wildlife. Wildlife has almost disappeared because of agriculture, particularly of cash crops, and also for extensive agriculture and urbanization. Now, because of extensive urbanization, what is happening? People are clearing off the forest, and wildlife cannot be stored in a zoo or something, right? That can be found in a rare forest only, where it is full of trees and forest. So in such an area, what is happening, the entire forest area is being cleared off because of production of cash crops, particularly cash crops, because it fetches you raw money. And then because of extensive urbanization to build up houses and other infrastructures and so on. So as a result of which, wildlife, since there is no space available for them, is getting day by day, it is vanishing. And ultimately there will come a day where wildlife will be very much difficult to be found, and it will come to an extinct position. So these are the questions that we had. 2E, the question was degradation of forest resource and wildlife is a fallout of agriculture and urbanization. This answer is explained in 2 parts. Firstly, we have spoken about the forest resource, where a forest is being cut off due to our own greedy purposes by deforestation and forest degradation, which is also a cause of forest resource being depleted, and illegal logging is also taking place. Next, we have spoken about wildlife, where wildlife is disappearing a lot because of, again, our greed purpose of growing cash crops and extensive urbanization. So we have finished the second section, that is up till 2E we have finished. I hope you have understood the questions and you don't have any doubt in it. So in the next videos, we'll come out with some other questions of this paper. So till then, stay Stay happy. Thank you.